welcome to the stage President and founder of SQLskills.com, Kimberley Tripp.
Am I on? Okay, there we go. Good morning. I am always so impressed that people can make the Friday morning keynote. Like even I had a little trouble this morning. I'm like, do they really need me to do that? I'm not sure. So welcome everyone. We are at day 3. It's kind of a sad, mixed emotion kind of day, right? And you're probably exhausted. Are you exhausted? Do you, yeah. Do you feel like, I am never gonna remember all of this stuff? I am always exhausted at this end of the week, but you have still one day to go and a lot of content to get through. So let me get through a few things here. In terms of reviewing, when you get back, I would really recommend that you start doing that fairly soon. Don't wait until like February before you start opening some of your content. You'll never remember things. So, and present to your team. That's one of my little tips and tricks that I would say is one of the best ways to not just remember what you learned, but learn more, because people will ask you questions and then you'll be like, oh, well, that's interesting. I need to know more about that. So I would really, really recommend that. Now, as far as the community, that's what this session today is about. It's our community keynote. I did the keynote last year, and community is a huge part of my career. In fact, I have a slide here that has, I can't even remember how many photos, but this is by far the best technical community I have ever seen. And I've gone to many dev events, I've gone to events all over the world, and I'm just so impressed at how open we are and how willing we are to communicate with each other and ask questions and to listen, right? And not care about backgrounds of people. I mean, it's phenomenal, and I love this community. It's been so fun. I mean, Team Hugo, a lot of these are from last year and the keynotes, and just so many of you that I met and chatted with and have been chatting with for 25, 30. I mean, I started when I was 2, so that's at least Paul wishes I did. So just amazing times and amazing events, and I think this community is the best technical community that exists, and I'm so proud to be a member of it. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. That pass is just, and SQL in general. So a couple more photos. I threw in so many photos from last year. It was just so much fun, and I just love that we allow people to be who they want to be. So. A couple more coming up there. See, I told you. Chatting with a few people last night, I'm like, you're in the keynote, you're in the keynote, you're in the keynote. Yeah, it was great fun last year doing the keynote on innovation, and in fact, that's why they had me do the introduction this year. They figured, okay, she did the keynote, now she can introduce the keynote, and the last 3 keynotes over the few years have been really fun, because Redgate's been sponsoring and running this for 3 years. So, past community summits, every time they ask that question, I end up going, I don't know how many summits I've been to. So I actually sat down, I think a couple of people last night told me that I might have missed a few here, but 21 past events and so many people over so many years. And I've absolutely loved being a part of this community, because this community is the reason why so many of you have come up to me and said, I've been working in SQL for 20 years, 25 years, and it's because we have such a community that's willing to talk to each other and answer each other's questions and be open, and I just love that. But many of you have heard that I'm retiring, and I'm leaving SQL. Believe me, I'm not gonna not work. I have to work, right? And the first thing I want to do is I want to work on a book, and it's mostly going to feature a lot of my underwater images and images that I've taken around the world and animal stories, and thank you. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it, but I have an ulterior motive to it. I want to have this book and all these stories kind of written down, and I'm going to end up creating Now, how did that get in there? Somebody may have modified my deck. Pretty sure that's not going to go in the book. But I want to tell all these stories, and I want to tell them in a way that I can then present some of these stories to kids. That was amazing, being in the water with orcas. And this one, part of my motivation is also climate change, because this is a beautiful picture, but it shows an anemone that is on its way to dying. And that's another thing I'm hoping that we can make more people aware of. I mean, I think everybody's aware of it, but underwater, it's crazy how much is changing. And so my point, what I want to do with this is create some lectures, go to grade schools, middle schools, high schools, and really get them interested in the photos and the fish and whatever the discussion is. Like, maybe I'll talk about bubble net feeding with humpback whales and show photos and hydrophones and stuff. But I also want to tell them that being a geek is okay, right? And my IT career is what allowed me to do all of these things and finding my interests and not being put into a bucket, that girls have to be whatever and boys have to be whatever. I don't want that. I'm not going to focus on girls. I mean, I'm a girl, so I'm hoping that that'll help motivate more girls to be in sciences and math and allow themselves to be geeky and girly, right? So I'm very excited to do that. I also am very into off-grid and real estate, so my big joke is that I'm going to end up creating my own billboard that's Randal Realty. I swim with sharks, so you don't have to. This is me lounging with a lemon, and there's a tiger in the background. Lemon shark, tiger shark. I spent 65 minutes petting that shark. It was quite funny. So yes, I am retiring, but I will be around, and I really still want to answer your questions and communicate with you, because the community is amazing. So thank you to Redgate. I am so impressed with the 3 years that Redgate has been running this conference and hosting it. They were fully online in kind of those crazy days that are still somewhat crazy days. The hybrid event was great, but now this year, being in person, hugging everybody, saying hello to everybody has been amazing. So yeah, I agree. It's been fantastic. So if you don't know, Redgate has a tremendous number of resources as well, so get online, check out, the Simple Talk articles, SQL Server Central, check out the videos of Kathy's team. So there's just some amazing, amazing content. The visit to the expo hall. I know you've all been there, and I know a lot of you have like your little photos and your little swag, but if there's a vendor that you haven't seen, go back, check them out. They might make your job easier. So, and there's a lot of raffles today, so today is the day to be there for sure. Now, the community keynotes, last year I did the 30 years of innovation. Brent did his talk about the cloud and our changing careers. And today, a big change this year has been AI, right? It's amazing how much you can do with all of these engines that are out there, and it's incredible. So that's the next wave, and that's going to be this year's keynote from Ben. Now, this slide sounds really impressive, but I'm pretty sure he evangelizes VB and Access. I'm not sure but anyway, this stuff is probably true, okay? But, it is Ben, all right? And Melody, this is great. I mean, she's an MVP, she's a regional director, which I was a regional, I love the folks that are in that team. She's been doing this for like 30 years as well. I mean, this is great. I mean, lots of great information from folks. So I'm really happy to introduce Ben and Melody for AIOps and ChatGPT. Prepare to ride the next wave. Thank you. Steve, what are you doing?
Sorry. So, Kimberley, I'm sorry. I'm introducing
here?
you. I'm going to interrupt slightly. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I've known Kimberley.
Oh my God.
20 plus years, right? It's been a long time.
I think it's like 25.
Yeah. And Kimberley.
When we were in diapers, we met.
Our birthdays are actually one day apart. Did you know that? That's amazing.
It is.
But we've been all over the world at various events.
Oh my God.
We've shared a ton of knowledge with you. We've shared a lot of laughs and good times and a few drinks here and there occasionally.
No.
And we know we're retiring. Not many people get to go out on top. And so, Kimberly, we wanted to do something for you.
Oh my God.
And so I have a few friends that want to do something here. I've got,
my God, you guys.
Joe Webb, Kevin Kline,
my God, you guys.
and Paul Randal,
God,
Kimberly's
Joe.
husband.
Oh my God. Kevin, Joe, thank you. You guys. I've known Kevin since he had hair.
Yeah. So Kimberly has been an inspiration to the community for,
oh my God, you guys are so
decades.
nice.
you have been, a
Surprise.
role model,
Yeah,
a role model to so many of us. And so we really, on behalf of the Summit crew and Anika, on behalf of Redgate and everybody
God,
that's learned something, we would just like to say thank you. And can we have a big round of applause for Kimberly?
Thank you. Oh, thank you.
So thank you very much.
Oh my God. Oh, this is. Oh my God. Oh, you guys carry this. I'm gonna hug them. Thank you. Oh my God. Oh, one more hug. Okay. I gotta get off stage. They gotta talk.
Are you having a party without us
So
again?
thank you very
No,
much. Now
I'm
the thing you
sorry.
came to hear about, right? With AI, we have Ben Weissman, Melody Zacharias. So
Yeah.
please enjoy the day 3 keynote.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Thank you. You guys are amazing. I'm done.
Well, good morning. Wow, it's so great to see so many of our special friends here.
I agree. I mean, this is perfect. And you know what? I know people, so we can do something different this year. It's something they would usually expect on a Wednesday, but we get to make some great announcements this week. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the future of big data clusters. I'm so excited, too. This will be great.
Ben,
Yes?
we talked about this.
You're not letting this go, huh?
No,
We're doing that AI thing?
that's right.
I gotta prepare. Entertain these people real quick. I'm gonna use ChatGPT for this. We got this. So hang
Yeah.
on. All right, here we go. Proper opening statement of day 3 keynote. We got this. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not very inclusive.
No, I don't think so.
Let's fix that. Let's be a bit more
Try again.
specific. Inclusive language. Cool. Yeah, there we go. Okay, this looks better. Yeah. How much time do we have now? 20 seconds. Okay. Oh, this is good. Good morning, esteemed members of the Past Data Community Summit. Welcome to day 3 of our exciting event, where we come together to explore the future of AI and its impact on data. Today's keynote is titled AIOps and ChatGPT Prepare to Ride the Next Wave. As we embark on this journey, we'll explore how inclusive language and diverse perspectives can drive innovation in the world of AI, ensuring that every voice is heard and empowered. Let us unlock the potential of AIOps and ChatGPT together, fostering a collaborative and inclusive future that rides the crest of technological advancements. Thank you, and let's make this day a remarkable one.
So what is artificial intelligence? Well, often what we don't understand can cause fear and anxiety. It may not be your fear, but that of your users or colleagues or clients. It is what is unknown, things that are unknown that we don't understand. So let's start with a little bit of history to guide us, but quickly, because we know Ben gets impatient. AI is a branch of computer science that focuses on creating intelligent machines. It can learn, it can think, it can act like humans. It can learn from its environment and experiences and can be used to solve complex problems. We have had 7 decades of the Turing test. And if you're unfamiliar with the Turing test, it was created by Alan Turing in the 1950s and has been used since then to determine what is true AI. It is used to determine AI by comparing it to human interactions. If a machine can be undistinguishable from a human interaction, it is considered to be past the Turing test. For the first time last year, both Lambda and ChatGPT both passed this test. That is an epic milestone. Now, we're finding that AI is displacing and causing the need to retrain approximately 375 million workers and over 70 of companies globally are expected to employ some form of AI in their operations by 2030, creating $18 trillion worth of economic activity and 250 to 280 million jobs by 2030. AI focuses on simulating cognitive skills and learning, reasoning, self-correlation, and creativity. This new form of intelligence has the potential to impact nearly every industry and is changing the way we do both life and business. Generative AI is the capability of AI to create new content. It will have far-reaching influence on business. With the introduction of ChatGPT to the global scene, the world is becoming increasingly accustomed to generative AI. Regardless of our path of learning, we will overlap with machine learning, natural language processing, and computer vision, or something completely new. The field that we work in, adjacent to, or in concert with AI and many growing areas all the time. It's going to be exciting to be a data geek of any flavor. But I want to stress, it's not that AI is coming to take your job, but that somebody working with AI probably will.
Excuse me. It's pretty early. It's day 3. And everything you said is correct, so you're not wrong there, but you're forgetting a very important fact. AI can be a lot of fun, you know?
I'm here at Harvard University. Just an extraordinary place, goes back to the 1600s. Always wondered what it would be like to go to a school like this. Pretty nerdy stuff, serious nerds. But nice.
I mean, looking at our audience today, serious nerds but nice, that's pretty much them, right?
Yeah, I see a lot of nerds out there, but what does Tom Cruise have to do with our nerds?
I keep forgetting these tiny little details. I don't know. That wasn't Tom Cruise. That's a deep fake. Deep Tom Cruise. Someone pretending to be Tom Cruise. But, well, glad I got you with that. However, AI has so much more because AI helps us remember things. And I'm a very forgetful person. So I was at this event last year, and I ran into this dude, and oddly enough, he was wearing the same shirt as I did. I don't know how, I mean, what are the odds, literally? I'm very bad with names, Marsha, so I was thinking...
It's Melody.
Are you sure?
Yeah, last I checked.
Okay, anyways. So let me show you a cool website here. So going back to my demo. So there's this website, and I can upload that picture that I took last year, because I was pretty sure I was going to run into them again, and I would be like, oh, I know we've met, but I don't remember your name. So I can just upload that picture of Anthony, that person from last year. It will zoom in, it will figure out, did it actually figure out the right person to search for, and then I just click here, search internet by face, it will search its database, there we go. Cool, it even found his twin, even though with a slightly lower confidence factor, and I can then even go ahead, how cool is that? Click through, there's his GitHub, I got all his personal information, how cool is that?
Very cool. I'm impressed.
Me too, however, there's more. AI can help us learn new things. What you may not know about me, I'm a serious language nerd. Mostly like languages like Armenian, Visual Basic, something that's not so common. However, I'm also a very visual person, so what I usually do is I look at pictures, I try to describe them, and then I translate them. Okay. Let's get you energized a bit, Melody. So
okay.
It was Melody, right?
Marsha. Oh, no, you're right, Melody.
Anyway. So take a look at that picture. Try to describe it.
That looks like a guy in childcare and a woman, maybe a teacher or a professor.
That's what I would have described it the same way. So let's use a very sophisticated AI tool called Google Translate. Put that in there. He is a childcare worker. She is a professor. Cool. And we're going to go ahead, select Armenian. Cool, there we go. I'm not going to read it out to you because it would be confusing. You know what's pretty cool about Google Translate? It works both ways. So I can just go ahead and switch that back, and boom, we got our original sentence. She's a childcare worker, he's a professor, magic.
Wait, wasn't that the other way around?
Huh. Well, the thing is, the Armenian language does not differentiate between genders the same way we do. So what probably happened here is that the Google Translate algorithm is a teeny tiny bit biased towards professions. But, I mean, I get it. There's just a couple of rules that we should not forget. I mean, blue is for boys, pink is for girls, so, I mean, that's how things work.
Obviously.
That's why we should have done a dress rehearsal.
That's right.
We forgot to take a picture. Did you bring your phone?
No, I don't have pockets.
I got you. We got AI, all right. Melody and Ben, pass them a keynote. Perfect, there we go.
Huh.
I wasn't, it's fine, I wasn't specific enough. Let me fix that. Melody, Zacharias, her, Ben, Weissman, him. Okay, so we got pronouns here, that's good. Melody, blonde woman, blue dress, Ben, bald man. What could go wrong, right?
Well, you are bald.
And you're blonde, so I mean, it ticks almost all the boxes.
We're getting close.
Well, maybe the thing is really photorealistic, so maybe let's try that as a modern painting style. I mean, that should really not be an issue. Right? Come on! I know, no, haha. Sometimes we overcomplicate things, especially situations like this. We're excited. Let's be less specific. A woman in a blue dress, a man in a pink. Seriously, what could go wrong, right? It's got to get
Simple
this
is
one.
best.
I kid you not. In the interest of time, we're going to leave it at that. I tried more than 50 different prompts, 50, and none of them worked out with the right colors, no matter how specific or unspecific I got.
Could something be wrong with AI, Ben?
What are you implying? That we should be concerned about when our smart speakers are listening?
Yeah, that too. But on a different note, Ben, who is this and why did you add this picture, especially in a professional keynote?
That is my good friend Milla. She keeps me always posted on all her travels and stuff. And right there, she's in Greece. I just like following her and see what she's up to.
Really?
Another tiny detail. We should have rehearsed this. I keep forgetting stuff. She's 100% AI generated. I'm not sure all her hundreds of thousands of followers are actually aware of that fact, but who knows? It is actually in her handle, but you know, people. And well, the other thing is what some people may not be aware of is her pictures are usually shown very prominently because it helps if you show a little less or more, no matter how you want to take that, you know. So I guess that brings us to some of the challenges we may see in AI. Privacy. Did Anthony ever consent to his GitHub picture being used in a reverse search? Bias. And we're going to talk a whole lot about bias. Security. Think back to our not so much Tom Cruise. If we can't rely anymore that the message that we're receiving is literally and legitimately coming from that person that we think it is coming from, that might be an issue. I guess we can boil that down to two categories, people, and trust me, I'm an expert on this. People, they are the worst, and data. So, all people are biased. All of us are, some more, some less, and different things. Gender. I mean, you're a woman, Melody. You're probably a horrible driver, right?
I'm not gonna answer that one.
I mean, I've been in the car with you, so anyways.
We'll talk about that
But that's
one later.
fine, because I'm a man, so it is pretty much given that I'm horrible at taking care of my daughter. Speaking of gender, if we're reducing gender to just binary genders, are non-binary genders even part of our considerations? Age. I'm sorry, you're too old. We can't hire you anymore because there's this one specific second in everybody's lives where you just lose all your abilities and capabilities from one second to the other. But it also works the other way around. Oh, you're too young. You can't be an expert. I mean, many of us have heard that. Attractiveness. We tend to buy stuff. We tend to believe people that are better looking. Attribution. We extrapolate certain abilities or disabilities, challenges from individuals to an entire group. The halo and the horn effect, which means nothing else is than we want to believe our friends and we want to disbelieve our non-friends, often paired with confirmation bias. So we kind of expect the outcome to match our own beliefs. And in the end, we create those algorithms, we pick those data sets, and therefore our biases end up in all of these algorithms. Let me tell you a little story. This is a made-up story, so no worries. Let me start with the kid is fine. So there was a father and his son, they were in the car. They got into an accident. Paramedics arrive on scene. They're like, yeah, we should get the boy to the hospital. You better stay with the car, but we should get him checked out. When they arrive at the hospital, the doctor says, oh, I cannot treat that patient. That's my son. Everyone's like, how is that possible? They told the father to stay with the car. What is happening? But I know Ben. He's always tricking us, you know. It's a patchwork family. How nice. The stepfather's accepting the kid. No. Aha. The dad was rushing to the hospital to beat them there. No. It's a same-sex couple. No, it's not. Who of you all was thinking that this could actually be the doctor saying they can't treat the patient? We're also trapped in our bubbles. That's what biases do to us. Let's do another exercise with you, Melody. This is a street sign, the Via Vittorio Emanuele II in Milan, Italy. Try this one.
I'd say that's King George V, probably in Jerusalem.
Correct.
In half of a mile, turn right on Malcolm 10th Boulevard.
Hang on.
In half of a mile, turn right on Malcolm 10th Boulevard.
Did she say Malcolm 10th?
That's what I heard. And I mean, that one has been fixed for quite a while. But back in the day, when we started with a navigational aid system, many of them were not trained for that exception to Roman letters. Bias can also be by design, because we may not be trapped in our bubbles, but it may just be part of what we're trying to achieve using AI. Let's take a look at this young man here. There's a website called portraitai.app, and the only thing that website does is you upload a picture, ideally a portrait, and it will turn it into a Renaissance-style painting. I'm going to say that's pretty close. Let's try that again. Her skin looks brighter to me. Her hair isn't exactly what it used to be in the picture. And the reason for that is honestly quite obvious. It's the training data set. There's just a very limited amount of Renaissance-style paintings of women of color with dreadlocks. Now you have to make a decision. Do you want to be as close as possible to the training data set? Or do you want to be as close as possible to what you were uploading and therefore not be as close to what you're promising, a Renaissance-style painting? And the only way you can work around that is by being very transparent about that, because sometimes there will be bias in your solutions in AI that you cannot work without. And all of these are the reasons why we need ethical guidance, but also diverse teams in AI. All teams, from design, development, testing, supervision. Again, we are all biased. We are all trapped in our bubbles. Again, some more, some less, but nobody can fix this on their own. And without these principles, these frameworks and guidance, you will never create any trust in your AI solutions. We also established earlier that data could be a problem, and it often is. How about we use the picture or the peer group on the left to predict obesity amongst men? Probably not the bestest of ideas. However, then again, it's only fair, given that we only test most medication on white men and then assume they work the exact same on all other peer groups, so maybe it would be fair. How about we use the guy on the right to predict the most effective way of winning a war these days?
Probably
too much
not.
data, too little data, too old data. But an even more common thing is the issue of correlation versus causation. I'm going to need you again here, Melody. Look at these two lines. Something in common?
Hard to say, I'm not sure.
I got you. Here's the trend line. How about now?
I mean, they might,
I mean,
but I don't
come
think I have
on,
enough
look.
information.
There's a clear pattern.
Maybe, but I've been tricked by you before, Ben.
True. Yeah, well, we're comparing fatal car accidents on US highways versus exported lemons from Mexico, so maybe the correlation is not as strong. As funny as that may be, I see that every day in models, so.
Yeah, well, depending on the manufacturer of car, I mean, if we're talking about US-made cars and lemons, we might have a correlation.
Just for the record, she just said that, so bold move, bold move. Before we move on, let me point out one of the sessions by one of our new speakers this week. Elena will be speaking right after this. She's one of our new star speakers this year. And she will be talking about how we can make our data more accessible and understandable for those of you that feel like they might need to learn a little bit more about that. That might be a great opportunity.
And we should not forget about one big other issue, and that's data these days is sometimes not our data.
What are you talking about?
Well, OpenAI stores training material for future models with no regard for data privacy. This could potentially lead to legal issues if users input confidential or sensitive information that is later produced by the tool. ChatGPT, for example, is trained on vast quantities of internet sources. The usage of some of these sources may infringe on the intellectual property rights of third parties, which causes copyright infringement. Luckily, EU regulators are currently developing legislation to ensure transparency about these sources and is using training AI and how training AI algorithms are being used. And yes, last week, I believe it was, or the week before, at the AI Open Summit, OpenAI just announced that Copyright Shield for paying customers of ChatGPT, where they will pay for any copyright legal fees. But keep in mind, this is only for paying customers and does not mean the problem goes away, but just that somebody else foots the bill.
No, at least someone is paying for my problems now. That's a good start.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is we continue to see hidden biases and inaccurate information. Many AIs do not have the ability to understand the implications of its output or even sometimes understand it. ChatGPT is not always trustworthy and still occasionally generates responses that contain discriminatory or completely inaccurate information. For example, in April of this year, Brian Hood, mayor of Hampshire, says that OpenAI falsely claimed that he was imprisoned for bribery while working for a subsidiary of Australia's National Bank. He has begun a defamation lawsuit against OpenAI for ChatGPT's inaccurate claim that he was arrested and charged with bribery. You can imagine how awful that was for him working at a bank. So let's move on to something that we're all quite familiar with, chatbots and its evolution. From phone services to tutoring our kids and helping us learn a language or completing performance evaluations, chatbots are becoming a huge part of our lives. And we've probably all interacted with them at one point or another. We use them for rebooking airline tickets or even tracking UPS packages online. They're becoming very common and popular. They are seen as bots and not really part of our team or even our organization. They've just become extensions of search engines. They typically rely on predefined rules or keyword matching, which can lead to inaccurate and irrelevant responses quite often. They're difficult to understand their context. They don't understand nuances, sarcasm, and often the user input, resulting in unsatisfactory interactions for users. Quite often, users find the interaction or experience disjointed, requiring users to repeat information or completely start over, leading to frustration. They are unable to handle out-of-scope questions. The effectiveness remains a challenge for many, and the chatbot systems are sometimes completely scrapped. Many chatbots rely on scripted responses, limiting their ability to handle unexpected or unique questions or queries. This provides canned responses, making them feel robotic and unable to address specific needs for anyone. They can be ineffective in understanding or responding to emotional states and can't support sensitive or emotional conversations. Their generic responses make it difficult to have a personalized experience. They lack the ability to remember past conversations and tailor responses based on individual user preferences, leading to impersonal interactions that may not fully address the user's needs. So to address those issues, we need to understand and embrace the transition from bots to what's now being called agents. AI agents will be much more helpful than today's chatbots due to their intelligence, their adaptability, and their cross-application capabilities. An example of this was defined last week by Bill Gates in his blog, where he described the transition from chatbots to agents, and his example was the transition from what we used to have of Clippy going to an agent. So if you remember Clippy years ago, he was a glorified search engine. And that's kind of a good description of what we have these days as our chatbots. And the vision that he has for agents of the future would be a virtual travel agent, is the example I'll give you today. So next year, I'm hoping that we'll have something along those lines for when I go to book my travel for Pass next year. So I'll be able to use an agent to book my travel for Pass. It will understand not only what my favorite hotel is, my favorite airline, and all of my favorite restaurants, but it will be able to know what all my reward points are for those. It will know what all of my favorite restaurants are because I'm a vegan. It will be able to find all the great restaurants in Seattle. I won't have to go hunting for hours to try and find a place to eat. And it will be able to book all of those things for me and give me an itinerary back in a matter of minutes instead of me spending days trying to figure out how I'm going to book my trip to Seattle. So these are things that will be available likely in the short term over cross-platform, making our lives so much easier.
That sounds all pretty powerful, but what I guess we need to figure out what we can use now, how we can use that power, we can embrace that power today for something good. And I found something. I found two amazing examples that use the Microsoft AI stack today. The Segura project, for example, uses AI agents and bots to help women looking for support due to being victims of domestic violence. The SOS Children's Villages have built a tool called Rafiki. It's a multilingual digital assistant with conversational language tools helping all the stakeholders at the SOS Children's Villages with challenges in their daily work, parenting, mental health, safeguarding, and all the other topics involved. But I'm sure there's more.
There is. There's many more great cases of AI where we use it in education for algorithms to analyze student learning patterns and preferences to tailor education content to the pace of individual needs and personalized learning. For families that can't afford a tutor, such as Khan Academy, it's available to explain and enforce lessons for AI to adapt lessons based on user performance. Teachers can use it for grading assignments, tests, and providing instant feedback for students. This saves time for educators and allows for more timely feedback. For content creation as well, teachers can find it generates educational purposes of specific content as well as practice questions, quizzes, and essays to help teachers create more specific content to individual needs. In the pharmaceutical industry, drug companies are making great discoveries with vast amounts of data sets that they're able to analyze. This is producing drug candidates for various diseases, identifying new drug compounds, and in medical imaging and analysis, they are finding with X-rays, MRIs, and CT scans, it's able to assist in detection of anomalies and diseases. Google's DeepMind Health, for example, has developed algorithms for eye disease diagnosis. And in genomics research, they're able to understand genetic mutations, predispositions to diseases, and develop personalized treatment plans. But AI is even used in the meteorology area. It's being used to analyze data to accurately predict weather, and it's been crucial in anticipating and responding to natural disasters like hurricanes, floods, and wildfires. The seismic data and patterns used to determine earthquakes is providing early warnings to affected regions, and it's simulating and predicting floods as well for various environmental factors that allow them to respond to potential flooding events. And let's not forget entertainment. That's the fun part that Ben likes to talk about. So we're all probably very familiar with Netflix and Spotify, the entertainment content. But there's also video games where we have non-player characters, games like Halo and my kid's favorite, Minecraft, virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, and Google Assistant are still very popular and are used by many.
We've talked about the need for diversity quite a bit already. And what we've also pointed out quite a bit is that things can go south rather quickly, I would say. But if we see how many great things AI can do for us, it should be able to help us here as well, right?
Yep.
Let's think about hiring processes. An AI-powered recruitment tool can help us to eliminate all the human biases that we have by looking at objective criteria such as skills, qualifications, and experience, which can help increasing fairness and diversity. Enhancing accessibility. AI can help us improve accessibility for individuals with disabilities. Think of you walking into a supermarket, holding your phone at an item, and it will tell you the best before date, it will tell you the price, it will tell you the color, it will tell you what item it is, etc., etc. Potentially the weight, all the attributes specific on that specific item. Natural language processing. Think about moving and triggering things by speech, by voice control. AI can help us and be trained to recognize and flag biased language and written content. It can help us create more inclusive materials. Think of our inclusive language prompt at the beginning. Not sure why we needed that, but I guess that's where we are at this point. Think of job descriptions, marketing. And it can also help us identify and flag online harassment, hate speech, discriminatory content, all of that. It can help us make online spaces safer and more inclusive. AI translation system. They can help us bridge the language barriers and enable effective communication across populations. Think about the two of us having a conversation over Teams. I talk to you in German, you talk back to me in English. We hear each other in our voices, but in our own language. That can bring together different cultural and linguistic backgrounds at a level that we've never seen before. However, if we do not pay attention, that works both ways, and it can still go south very quickly. I can think of a social media platform or two that doesn't really seem to care anymore about being a safe space for everyone, so I guess this comes down to the question of questions. What does it mean for us? How does it affect us?
I have had friends that are not in this industry ask me if AI is the Terminator. It's a natural fear. Automation, creation, and transformation is the likely change. But that's happening at an accelerated rate like we've never seen before. Mundane and routine and repetitive tasks will be automated, allowing people to focus on higher value work. Some jobs will be automated, bringing new jobs and new industries even. The shift in required skills and the ability to adapt to existing ones and our ability to effectively work alongside AI systems, as well as upskilling and reskilling, can help employees transition into new roles and acquire the necessary skills to remain employable in an AI-driven economy. AI has the potential to significantly boost productivity economy growth, and by automating repetitive and time-consuming tasks, AI can free us up to give us the resources and enable workers to focus on more creative and strategic endeavors. This increased productivity can contribute to job creation and higher standards of living for all of us. The important impact of AI on jobs can vary across industries, geographic regions, and socioeconomic groups. Certain sectors may experience more significant changes than others, and it's crucial for us to consider the potential disparities and address the potential impacts on vulnerable populations. Strategies such as social safety nets, lifelong learning programs, and inclusive economic policies can help mitigate any negative consequences. So to answer your question, Ben, on how this affects us, I think it's really going to bring a lot of change.
Good point. Let me show you something I built the other day. So those of you that have worked with me, you know, my T-SQL skills are like, meh. But, well, I wanted to have a table where I can store all these sessions from the past summit, so I can manage that data myself. But I'm always on the edge, so rather than using the Azure portal like Anna did on Wednesday, I'm going to use Azure Data Studio. So in Azure Data Studio, I'm going to use the Copilot and ask it to build me a table for my conference sessions. All right. That is a good first suggestion. Quite nice. But I want to include information like if I actually attended a session, if I was planning to, et cetera, so I'm also going to add that to my prompt. All right, pretty cool. And well, even with that typo in there, yeah, it's all there, cool, let's use that. However, even with that table, there's a problem. There are just so many, I mean, I don't know if all of y'all have noticed, but there are so many sessions happening this week. I mean, what is going on? How do I manage that? So I did the only sensible thing. I did what everyone in my situation would have done, right? So I wrote this fancy VB app that I can use to monitor and manage all my sessions. You can get it from my GitHub, so I'm pretty sure this is going to take off. But that leaves me with another issue. I mean, I kind of want to stay in touch with all the people over the course of this week, but this week is so busy.
It is.
So I thought, how about I just pick like 3 random sessions a day? So there we go. We got Kendra, we got Haney, we got Yannis. OK, that's cool. And, well, I'm personally too busy. So what I'm doing is I'm using a little T-SQL to turn this into a ChatGPT prompt. So depending on if it's a future session, if I attended, if I missed it, it'll come up with a little prompt for a small LinkedIn post. So here's my prompt. Let's only take a look at the second part there. Yeah, that's better. Extend. So you see the session title, you see the speaker, but also the information, did I attend, et cetera, potentially some notes I was taking. And what I can then do is I can pass this prompt to ChatGPT right here in my SQL server running a container. And again, isn't it odd that Bob Ward, working with SQL Server for 30 years, was using Azure SQL for it, whereas I'm using like a traditional on-prem SQL Server for this, just saying. So I'm using the Python module for that. And so that works in any on-prem SQL Server back to 2017, actually. And then I do the only thing that everybody in this room loves more than a good VB app. I'm running a cursor. So that cursor that cursor will loop through these sessions. It will pass it on to the Microsoft Azure OpenAI API, and then store that responses in my session table. So, OK, ta-da, perfect, there we go. All right, let's copy that real quick. Going to my notepad here. Here we go. And you see how devastated, how disappointing I was to miss Kendra's session, but I'm so much looking forward to the recordings. But also how much I liked Haney's slides. And if we scroll down here, oh, we got Yannis' session, very much looking forward to that this afternoon. Do you know that Yannis only started speaking 2 weeks ago at the last New Stars of Data? I mean, that is a super fast-paced speaker career. How cool is that?
That's amazing. That's pretty neat. And I like how clean that machine-generated code looks compared to what you usually produce, Ben.
I said it and I say it again. If it does not fit into a single line of code, you're doing it wrong.
OK, whatever. My point is AI won't take your job, but someone who is using AI might. I think this Copilot name is pretty darn good for Microsoft. I mean, finally, I think I'm happy with something that Microsoft named something.
Especially after this week, I agree, because, yeah, I want to be the captain.
The shift in leadership roles have a direct effect as well on executive function, the part of the brain that regulates analytics, verbal reasoning, inhibition, discretion, mental flexibility, and complex decision-making, among other traits. Tammy Santiago, U.S. Department of Defense. Bias is emerging as one of the most significant issues with AI, coming at us in the short term as we adapt to chatbots, administrative AI, and other emerging intelligences, taking on our repetitive tasks. She brings up an essential key element to how this will impact us and our teams. And when I talk about leadership, I mean every single one of you in this room. We are the leaders not just of today, but of tomorrow. The concern Santiago raises is the probability that leaders will surrender decisions to AI systems, regardless of the inherent bias that we know it to have, noting that the ethical ramifications of doing so is paramount to the decision. The need to determine how this separation of algorithm and human will affect actions of AIs, and ultimately who is responsible for the liability, responsibility, and decision of those actions. Leaders should proactively plan to manage the change, provide comprehensive training and support for all individuals involved, including skillfully managing teams that may exhibit resistance to organizational change, articulate the potential benefits of AI adoption, and address any concerns and dispel misconceptions about AI by sharing success stories. These are the priorities for our AI world coming. Certain qualities such as humility, adaptability, vision, and constant engagement are likely to play key roles in a more agile type of leadership.
Another priority is domain expertise. Domain expertise is crucial for AI because it provides the necessary context for a particular field or industry. This is what enables AI systems to understand and generate meaningful insights, make informed decisions, and perform tasks accurately within that domain. Without that domain expertise, AI may and will struggle to comprehend nuances, interpret data correctly, and produce the relevant outputs, limiting its effectiveness for real-world AI applications.
Vision. Leaders must clearly articulate the potential benefits of AI adoption, address any concerns, and dispel misconceptions about AI by sharing our success stories. Being the visionaries of our generation and the generations to come, it's our opportunity to set the next level, and not of science fiction, but that we make of science fact.
And last but not least, fairness. The best way to address this is to be the change we want to see in this world. Address the bias that can be found in data and algorithms and the people involved. Embrace that challenge and be part of the solution, just as we did with pretty much every other technology in the past, right?
As more and more artificial intelligence is entering the world, more and more emotional intelligence must enter into leadership. The paramount duty of leadership lies in diligently eliminating bias while fostering trust, transparency, and fairness. As leadership delegates repetitive tasks to AI, it's recommended to compensate with executive functions to help remove bias and enhance other vulnerable aspects, ultimately creating a collaborative synergy between AI and human capabilities to achieve optimal performance. Drawing upon a Harvard research study, on addressing bias presents a compelling story. When detecting cancer cells, AI was 92% accurate in its findings, whereas conventional research methods aggregated 96%. However, when AI and humans collaborated, the results showed an accuracy level of 99.5. This better together narrative not only speaks to the benefits of accuracy, but also addresses the crucial issue of bias detection. As humans, we may need to extend our cognitive, emotional, and social intelligence to include machine intelligence, to learn to recognize the aspects of models that show bias, lack of trustworthiness, or show signs of unfairness. Remember that picture we took at the beginning with DALL-E? Well, this is the Better Together story. When we used Mihai Entertainment, the company Pure Storage used to make those great data heroes in our booth this week here at Past Summit, they use a combination of AI and human intervention to ensure a proper, non-biased end product. When we asked them to do the same thing that we asked DALL-E, we got this.
I think we got our selfie right here, huh?
I think so. I think that's a much better together story.
It is.
So the World Economic Forum estimates that AI will replace 85 million jobs by 2025. And that involves many jobs such as driving and analyst-type jobs. So 97 million jobs simultaneously will be created. Those jobs will include analysts, traders, air traffic mitigation, controllers, and people analyzing data. So it's not an all bad story. There's going to be just as many jobs created with AI as are lost. This is not a bad story. It's just a change. No different than we saw during the Industrial Revolution. It's just a change in how we do things. We have been experiencing change in our industry for years. This is just going to be a faster change.
So let's try to bring all of this together. What can all of us, what can people in the room do today if you really want to ride the AI train? And I guess we can put them into like 4 different groups. Foundational knowledge, the different fields of AI, low-code, no-code approaches, and of course, the ethical considerations. That foundational knowledge may sound super theoretical, and for most of us, maybe even too generic. I mean, we're talking about basic math, statistics, probability, and understanding of algorithms. But you need to understand those if you want to be more than just an AI consumer. Let's take a quick look at the fields of AI, and the headlines there are probably more what you were expecting on the list of things we tell you should probably look into. We saw examples of computer vision, of language processing and such today, but again, those are applications. They are backed by learning algorithms, logics, and frameworks. That's already a lot. Do I really need to learn all of this? Good thing I'm a consultant. It depends. Don't want the details? Cool. Just want to be an end user? Also fine, but don't make the mistake of underestimating the impact that AI already has, and even more so will have on all of us, professionally and personally. And a couple of courses and capstones projects that I did really helped me to deepen that understanding. However, there's also the side of the house that requires little or no coding challenges, and that field is so incredibly wide. Designing solutions, being or becoming a domain expert, designing user experience, integrating your solutions, documentation, testing, all of that. So even if you decide you do not want to become a mathematician, there is more than enough work for all of us in AI. That leaves us with our, if you ask me, most important quadrant, the role of ethics in AI. And for those of you in the room wondering if you really need to understand this, we should have a little talk afterwards. We have stressed this topic quite a bit over the last hour, and for a good reason, because no matter how deep you're in all the tech, that concerns all of us, more than any of the tech that is involved in AI. Lots of fancy bullet points, huh? How do you put this to action? There's all kinds of materials out there, but we were trying to give you a little head start, I'm going to say. I'm not going to read the next 5 slides to you because, well, you can just download the deck from the PASS website, but we wanted to share with you the materials that we used to research today's session, that we used to deepen our understanding of what's going on with a couple of courses, blog posts, articles, repositories, etc., etc. Even, of course, including your chance to follow Deep Tom Cruise and Miller on social media if you intend to do so. Before we go, and I have to say, doing this together, Melody, this was great. But my highlight this week is seeing so many amazing new or new-ish speakers at this conference. For those of you that know me, you know that is kind of my passion in this community. So I want to thank all the helpers and mentors. I want to give a huge shout out to the friends at Redgate, Marcella helping with all these speakers, T helping with all the promotions, Anika helping with all the logistics, and everybody else involved. Can we get a huge round of applause for all these helpers make this happen, please? But also, of course, another round of applause for all the amazing new speakers sitting here today. The fact that you're speaking here this week is a big step, and I promise you that it either already has been or will be life-changing for many of you. And for those of you in the audience that are considering becoming a public speaker, we got a little more time, right? You got anybody to be?
Sure.
Come on, hang on. I'm not prepared.
Again.
It happens. It's my jam. I'll just add another slide here real quick. I'm going to use AI for that. So let me add a slide to my presentation. Of course, we're going to make it an AI slide. Point out the benefits of public speaking. Perfect. There we go. Oh, there's a typo. We should probably fix that. And AI is only as strong as the data it can work with, so we're also providing the new Stars of Data website for additional context. We say generate slide. OK. Bot is doing its magic. Wi-Fi is slow here. There we go. Not 100% happy with how it looks like. What do you think?
No.
OK. Maybe let's change the... OK, this is getting better. Maybe also change the shapes. Yeah, that's better.
That's better.
Maybe also the colors. Maybe some grayish. Or greenish. This is looking much better.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, I think we're good to go. This is nice. So there we go. I guess that sums up some of the benefits of public speaking quite nicely. And of course, but what it also does is it shows us yet another fun and helpful tool where my inputs, paired with some modifications, pairing that with the power of AI, bringing back that better together story, created some new content in no time. And with that, we now really only have one thing left to say to all of you.
Thank you very much for joining us today.